Yeah, and no alone.
I do that at home too, like on Saturdays and Saturdays. I invite friends. And that's a few things I think we're trying to be better about, like small snacks throughout the day, like a smaller lunch, smaller dinner, a granola bar, and some sort of, I don't know, electrolyte or protein, something. Teas, coffee. I'm not trying to adult that much. Come on. I remember when I first started the dreadlocks, we went to Vegas. And it was like 7 of us. And me and my older brother just had to down. So she's like, taking a shower. And it's like, no, you should shower first. Put the makeup on and like do the whole shake. And like, I'm still wasn't
You have to have an emergency back right there.
So I did the shower first. And as she's getting the shower, I was like, well, I guess I'll put the makeup on. So I got to put like a little bit of makeup on. And when she gets out of the shower, I just take like my hair out and I'm like, I'm ready to go.
Do that before the service starts. I don't think we can take that down before the service starts.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We continue our Yom Kippur worship with words of the Yizkor service. Our tradition shows great wisdom in teaching us to gather for services of remembrance on Yom Kippur. These moments that mark this particular season of the year, and indeed the season of our lives, awaken within us strong memories of relationships that have helped shape us, sustained us, and challenged us, and of holy days where we shared with loved ones and with cherished friends. When they are gone, we can still affirm the beauty and the lasting values we learned from them, and remembering them in all their humaneness. One of the ways we do that is by coming together as a community of comfort and a community of care. From its inception 1,000 years ago, when it was prayed by Ashkenazic Jews on the morning of Yom Kippur, Yizkor has had two profound themes: God's embrace of loved ones who are beyond our reach, and our commitment to do the good deeds that are within our reach by remembering, by giving tzedakah, by speaking their name. When we say the Yizkor prayer, may God remember, we proclaim our faith that those who have died have significance now and forever. Our service continues on page 541. This is the hour of memory, and this is our house of comfort. Wounded by loss, we retreated from life. This synagogue, our synagogue, gathers us in. Into this place, we bring stories and prayers, unanswered questions, tears that need to be shed. Lives recollected and carried within us, moments of courage and laughter and pain. This day embraces them all, and this place embraces them all. Now the heart opens in sorrow, for we are time's subject, and all that we love, we must lose. So let us hold fast to the love that remains and cherish the light of the sun. Today, all of us walk the mourner's path. Together, may we find strength. We continue on page 547. Is that it? Yeah. Continuing on page 547. Yom Kippur without my father and without my mother is not Yom Kippur. From the blessing of their hands on my head, just the tremor has remained like the tremor of an engine that didn't stop even after their death. We continue on page 548. We read responsively. At birth, a miracle, you light the spark in every human soul. And every day, every breath comes to us as a miracle. When breath has ceased and life has gone, the neshama returns to you. Their light is ours. Their radiance now burns in us, eternal flame of memory. A light unique and precious, ours to treasure while we live. The death of a loved one is the most profound of all sorrows. The grief that comes with such a loss is intense and multifaceted, affecting our emotions, our bodies, and our lives. Grief is preoccupying and depleting. Emotionally, grief is a mixture of raw feelings, such as sorrow, anguish, anger, regret, longing, fear, and deprivation. Grief may be experienced physically as exhaustion, emptiness, tension, sleeplessness, or loss of appetite. Grief invades our daily lives in many sudden gaps and changes, like that empty place at the dinner table, or the sudden loss of affection and companionship, as well as in many new apprehensions, adjustments, and uncertainties. The loss of a loved one throws every aspect of our lives out of balance. The closer we are to the person who died, the more havoc the loss creates. Love does not die quickly. Hence, to grieve is also to celebrate the depth of the union, tears that are in the jewels of remembrance, sad but glistening with the beauty of the past. So grief in its bitterness marks the end, but it is also praise to the one who is gone. We die despite appointments and feuds, while our toddler who has recently learned to say no opens and shuts drawers 100 times a day, and our teen braces for the rapids of romance. We die despite the contracts and business trips we planned when our desk is untidy, despite a long list of things to do which we keep simmering like a rich broth. We die despite work we cherish, marrying whom we love, piling up a star-spangled fortune, basking on the Riviera of fame, and achieving that human participle with no known object. We continue on page 553. Move to the front of the line, a voice says, and suddenly there is nobody left standing between you and the world to take the first blows on their shoulders. This is the place in books where part 1 ends and part 2 begins, and there is no part 3. The slate is wiped, not clean, but like a canvas, painted over in white, so that a whole new landscape must be started. Bits of the old still showing underneath, those colors sadness lends to a certain hour of evening. Now the line of sight at the horizon is the hinge between earth and heaven, only visible a few moments as the sun drops its rusted padlock into place. We continue on page 557. The courage that my mother had went with her and is with her still. Rock from New England quarried, now granite on a granite hill. The golden brooch my mother wore she left behind for me to wear. I have no thing I treasure more, yet it is something I could spare. Oh, if instead she'd left me the thing she took into the grave, that courage like a rock, which she has no more need of, and I have. We continue on page 561. As we read responsively. When I cry, my voice trembles with fear. When I call out, it cracks with anger. To whom shall I turn when the clouds of the present eclipse the rays of tomorrow? Were not the seas split asunder? Did we not once walk together through the waters to the dry side? Did your voice not reach my ears and direct my wanderings? Let the past offer proof of tomorrow. Let it be my comforter and my guarantor. I enter the sanctuary again to await the echo of your promise. Our service continues on page 565. It's a little low light the yahrzeit candle makes. You couldn't even read it or even warm your hands. So the dead are with us only as the scent of fresh coffee, of cinnamon, of pansies, excites the nose and then fades. With us as the small candle burns in its glass. We lose and we go on losing as long as we live. A little winter, no spring can melt. Everything will remember that I was here. The ships will be the color of my clothing. The birds will use my voice for singing. The fishermen on the rock will ponder my poem. The river will follow my footprints. We continue on page 567. Chana Senesh wrote, "There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember." We continue on the following pages, silently with meditations, with readings, with thoughts, and with memories. We continue on page 577. I find it hard to believe that all we are simply vanishes. I don't think we go to a physical place. After all, the essence, the soul, is not physical. As the Israeli scholar Adin Steinsaltz once remarked, to ask where the soul goes is a nonsense question. The soul is not physical. Where does a dream go once it has been dreamt? Where does love go when it seems to disappear? We cannot conceive of what life might be like if it is not material like this life. In this life, we are tied to the tangible, except our deepest experiences tend to be things that are not really physical, like love, like memory. We cannot imagine what happens after death, but the poverty of our imagination does not prove that the world is not more creative than we know. It is lovely to think that the loss of this world is a ticket price to the inheritance of the next. Maybe we step through this world as if through a corridor. A beautiful comment by Bronson Alcott, friend of Emerson and father of Louisa May Alcott, ties together the themes of failing memory and the world to come. As he grew older, Emerson started to lose his memory. He tried to get around it. Once, forgetting the term umbrella, he called it the thing that strangers take away. But it troubled him. He was consoled by Alcott, who made reference to the Platonic legend that human beings know all about this world, but lose what knowledge the moment we are born. Likewise, he said, that as we get older, we start losing knowledge of this world in the form of failing memory to prepare us for the next world. Each time we cannot remember something about this world, it is not a failing, but a letting go.
Bye.
Our service continues on page 583. We read responsively. Let the light of late afternoon shine through chinks in the barn, moving up the bales as the sun moves down. Let dew collect on the hoe abandoned in long grass. Let the stars appear and the moon disclose her silver horn. To the bottle in the ditch, to the scoop in the oats, to air in the lung, let evening come. We continue on page 585. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or a first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always, and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? When we fear death's decree, let these bring us solace, the memory of loved ones who have gone before us, a vision of generations to come, through whom we reach far into the future, beyond our own lives. We continue on page 589. Today you would be 97 if you had lived, and we would all be miserable, you and your children driving from clinic to clinic, an ancient fearful hypochondriac and his fretful son and daughter, asking directions, trying to read the complicated, fading map of cures. But with your dignity intact, you have been gone for 20 years, and I am glad for all of us. Although I miss you every day, the heartbeat under your necktie, the hand cupped on the back of my neck, old spice in the air. Your voice delighted with stories. On this day, each year, you loved to relate that at the moment of your birth, your mother glanced out of the window and saw lilacs in bloom. Well, today, lilacs are blooming in side yards all over Iowa, still welcoming you.
I still remember so much about you, the glow in your eyes and the things you used to do. I try to smile as the tears fall from my eyes. Although I know you're gone, the love you gave me never dies. You will always be with me, even though you are gone. I can still feel you kiss me, and your spirit lives on. Although we can't touch, and I miss you so much, you will always be here with me. Sometimes the grief is too painful to bear. I long for your laugh and the sunlight in your hair. You represent all the things I want to be, to follow your example and to make you proud of me. You will always be with me, even though you are gone. I can still feel you kiss me, and your spirit lives on. Although we can't touch and I miss you so much, you will always be here with me. The memories that we made, I will not let them fade. I'll celebrate our love year after year. The funny things you said, the special life you led, make me feel that somehow you're still here. You will always be with me, even though you are gone. I can still feel you kiss me, and your spirit lives on. Although we can't touch and I miss you so much, you will always be here with me. There's a part of you in each thing that I do. You will always be here with me. With me.
I warned you I would cry at that song. Our service continues on page 593. No other psalm, perhaps no other prayer, but the Kaddish itself is as inseparable from our experiences of grief and mourning as the 23rd Psalm. One phrase so simple and direct, yet emotionally profound, has made it so. Ki ata imadi, for you are with me. Or in the language of an earlier age, for thou art with me. To arrive at those words after passing through the valley of the shadow of death is to know, in the words of Rabbi Joshua Loth Liebman, that God contains and supports us as a mighty ocean contains and supports the infinitesimal drops of every wave. To arrive at those words is to feel at home in the cosmos, held and comforted, cared for, and serene. The 23rd Psalm does not make promises that cannot be kept. The end of all evil, the eradication of suffering and pain, sunshine instead of shadows. No. It makes but one promise, only this: you are not alone.
Sheyar b'tzeh Baruch lefonai shulchan veget zorerai dishanta v'Hashem en roshi kozir revayah ach tov v'chesed v'tefillis kol yamei chayai v'shavti bebeit
There are no words. There are no words that can make the pain go away. There are no words that can bring back our loved ones. There are no words. And for Jews, that's very difficult because we like words, we use words, we read words, we speak words. And so when the death of a loved one comes, in that silence we try to fill with words that sometimes don't make sense and certainly don't bring comfort. Our rabbis have taught us, do not try to assuage someone in the midst of their grief. Do not say to them, it'll be all right. Do not say to them, it will get better. Do not say time heals all wounds. No. Our rabbis teach us, do not try to console one in the midst of their grief. Let them be with their grief. Their feelings are real. And there are no words. And we don't like not having words. We want to say the magic word to make the pain go away. We want to say the words to make them feel better. But feeling better isn't what they need right then. Mourning is part of our emotions. It is there following millions of years of evolution. It is there because it needs to be there. Because when we lose a loved one, we have to mourn. We have to cry, we have to be angry. We have to do all of those things because that's how we survived. That's how we evolved. There are no words. And that should be liberating. Because there are no words, we don't have to worry about what we should try to say. Instead, we can just be there. We can just be there. To cry with them, to hug them, to mourn with them. Because there are no words that we can say, we can instead fill those moments with our own compassion. We can hold their hands. We can remember with them. But ours is not to try to make the pain go away or to make the grieving stop, because it doesn't stop. Grieving is something we learn to live with and to live through. That's how we are wired. That's how we have evolved. Because of our love for our departed, we feel a big emptiness in our lives. We would love to fill it, but we know there are no words and no things that can fill that hole. But the absence of love is too horrific to think about. To think about a death of someone with no tears. To think about the death of a person with no reaction on our part is even more horrific than the pain of the grief. Because what we are grieving is the lack of that continuation of the story we had with our loved ones. How that part has ended. And the challenge to us is to find ways to go on living. And therein lies the cure for our grief. The more we choose life, the more grief lets go of our hearts. The more that we choose to remember, the more that intense pain begins to fade. There are no words. And we so desperately want words. To ease that pain and to make that grief go away. And so we who mourn must also learn to be with that mourning and with that pain. Just as those who come to comfort us cannot speak words to fix that, we ourselves cannot speak words to fix our own grief. And so we do what we Jews have always done. We look to each other and we say, L'chaim, to life. We will always miss our loved ones. That hole will never be filled. But the more we choose to live our lives, the more we choose to rise to that challenge, the more we honor the memory of our departed. Zichronam Livracha. May we honor their memories and bring blessing to those memories. Our loved ones live in our broken hearts. And at times that brings some measure of healing. Their acts of kindness and generosity are the inheritance that they leave behind. we feel their absence, but the beauty of their lives abides among us. As it is said, the name of one who has died shall not disappear. Our loved ones' names and their memories will endure among us. And these are the names on our lips and on our hearts. We acknowledge with profound love and loss these members of our community and our family who have entered eternity since last Yom Kippur. Shirley Altenew, Rhonda Atlas Garside, Muriel Balaban, Professor Dr. Fred Bergerson, Bernard Beskin, Adrian Casson, Cam Craig, Irving Drobny, Joyce Glassman, Shirley Grossberg, Lois Kaufman, Donald Kessler, Danny Leeson, Eric Lertzman, Sandra Lertzman, Michael Lertzman, Paula Marcus, Pamela Novak, Annette Raymond, Florence Sachs, Adele Schloss, Nick Scotto, Stephen Spiegel, Inga Spiegel, Madge Evelyn Tatum Lenegro, Dr. Stephen Waldman, Nancy Zinberg, and Nancy Riley. As well are the names that are contained in this book of memory. A book that has listed so many names and so many memories that go with those names. We include as well the past rabbis of our congregation: Edward Chessman, Julian Flegg, Jacob Halevi, Arthur Oles, and John Sherwood. We include as well the presidents, the past presidents of our congregation: Irv Berman, Sanford Block, Len Bronstein, Shirley Grossberg, Lawrence Held, Leo Lofchi, Herb Palmer, Lou Piltz, Art Roth, Ray Ruth, Carol Sherman, Emilio Ursus, and Lou Zucker. Zichronam Livracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. Our service continues on page 599. We call to mind our brothers and sisters who died in the Shoah. Avinu Malkeinu, let there be perfect rest for the souls of the 6 million of our fellow brothers who died and sisters who died as Jews in the flames of the Shoah. Let there be perfect rest for the countless millions who have died because of race, religion or nationality, political affiliation or sexual orientation. Hold them close to you forever. Seal their souls for everlasting life in the shelter of your presence. For you are their eternal home, as together we say, Amen. For those who've died for our country, merciful God, God Most High, may there be perfect rest in your presence for all who placed themselves in peril and died protecting our country, our citizens, and our highest principles. With gratitude, we honor their bravery and devotion, and with love we pray, hold them close to you forever. Among the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven, let the words of the prophet Isaiah be their timeless memorial. The work of righteousness shall be peace, yielding quietness and confidence forever. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Then the glory of God eternal shall be revealed, and all life as one shall behold it. Merciful God, shelter those who served and died for the sake of peace. Shelter them forever among the souls of all the righteous, as we say, Amen. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and to old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to get me. No, sorry, you'll have to listen to this one. The words aren't in the book. I want to leave you something better than words, better than sounds. Look for me. Look for me in the people I've known and the people I've loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love does not die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We continue on page 598. With the words of our El Malei Rachamim, a prayer recited at funerals, memorial services, a prayer that speaks of a loving and compassionate God, reminding us that it is that very love that can help us transcend the distance we feel from our departed. And it is that very love that can help us face the pain of the grief and the loss that we feel. As a tribute to the memories of all that we have named aloud and those that we keep named in our quiet places of our hearts and memories, I invite us to rise as we are able for the El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen B'Meramim, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Harakia, Mazhirim, Et Nishmot Shehalchu Leolamam, Began Eden Tehei Menuchatam, Baal Harachamim, Yasireim Beseite Kenafecha Leolamim, Veitzror Bitzror HaChayim Et Nishmatam, Adonai hu nachalatam, ve'anuchu b'shalom al mishkavam, ונאמר Amen.
Merciful and compassionate God, God Most High, let there be perfect rest for the souls of our loved ones who have gone into eternity. May they find shelter in your presence among the holy and the pure, whose light shines like the radiance of the heavens. Compassionate God, hold them close to you forever. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May they find a home in you, and may they rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Our service continues with the words of our Kaddish on page 606. The Kaddish never mentions the word death or grieving or loss. It is a prayer that acknowledges the greatness of God, even though God is beyond all words we could utter. It begins as a tradition of our rabbis at the conclusion of a period of study, the book of the Bible, a tractate of the Talmud, to acknowledge this great mystery of life, that on their journey they encountered each other, that in their presence they learned something from each other, and as they were setting forth, not knowing when their paths would cross again, they simply wished to acknowledge the great mystery that brought them together for that moment of learning, of camaraderie, and of life. What begins as a tradition shared at the time of a conclusion of study becomes a prayer recited at the conclusion of a life, where we also acknowledge that great mystery, that our loved ones were part of our lives, that we met them, and in their presence we learned something, we shared moments, we lived, we loved, we laughed. And at their parting, unsure of when we will meet yet again, we acknowledge the great mystery of life that transcends this physical moment and extends to the world to come. With these words, we sanctify the memories of our beloved departed. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei d'kudesha barichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May all of us who mourn, and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's presence a source of strength, courage, hope, above all a source of shalom, of peace. And let us all say, Amen. We may be seated as we continue with our Neila service on page 612.
Tell me what to do.
Ozi vezimrat ya vayehi li lishuva. Ozi vezimrat ya vayehi li lishuva. Ozi vezimrat ya vayehi li lishuva. Yeshua. Ozi vezimrat Yah, vayahi li Yeshua. Ozi vezimrat Yah, vayahi li Yeshua.
The long day is soon to be over, and the gates will be closing. Slowly the day fades into dusk. Soon the earth will darken. Our bodies weak and weary, our inner strength undiminished. This day has been a gift, uncluttered time, free from hurry and routine, appointments or assignments, a time to face our sins and our imperfections, our dreams and yearnings for the life we want to live, a time to leave the clamor of the world and attend to the voice within. Long ago, the temple gates were locked at dusk. So too, at this hour, the gates of Yom Kippur begin to close. Have we done all that needed to be done? Have we said everything that needed to be said? The gates of God's compassions never close, but soon enough our lives close in on us. Now in the silence of the soul, now before the holy day comes to an end, release the unshed tears, the deepest prayers locked in our hearts. So we continue on page 614. Our God, God of all, God sublime, whose deeds are true, have compassion, grant us pardon as we enter Neila.
Saledim bechila bisheat anila shofechim lecha nafsham mechafisham bekachasham hametzeim mechila bisheat anila Elor alila hamzelanu mechila bisheat anila Elor alila Alila, Hamzelanu Mechila, Bisheat Anila, Zechutzit Kad Avihem, Vechadeshet Yamehem, Kekedem Utechila, Bisheat Anila, Michael Guardian de Israel, Eliyahu Gabriel, Nostieron Laraden Sion, En Ora Den Ila, Enor alila, Hamzelanu mechila, bisheat anila. Enor alila, Hamzelanu mechila, bisheat anila.
Sephardic Jews know how to celebrate Yom Kippur. That is a Sephardic melody, Sephardic words, a Sephardic idea. As the gates begin to close, we look for that final act of redemption and teshuvah. Our service continues on page 621. Taking small steps into the new year, I have come upon a blue lake in my heart. The stillest of waters in this dense word forest of prayer. And like a stand of old growth, the towers of the last Amidah rise toward the unnameable. We continue with the words of our tefillah on page 622. I invite us to rise as we are able.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem Lema'an Shemo Be'Yahava.
Remember us for life, sovereign God, who treasures life. Seal us in the book of life for your sake, O God of life, sovereign of salvation, pillar of protection. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai, shield of Abraham, sustainer of Sarah. We continue on page 627 as we read responsively. When greeting a friend after more than a year, we say, praise the power that gives life to the dead. When asking forgiveness and the other forgives, we say, praise the power that gives life to the dead. When evil is stopped and goodness prevails, we say, praise the power that gives life to the dead. When the hearts of the parents turn to the children, and the hearts of the children turn to the parents, we say, praise the power that gives life to the dead. Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye Hakol, source of our immortal yearnings, our undying hopes. We continue on page 629. We may be seated. The arc of evening slowly turning, the sun's blue shadows washed away. The gates still open as 3 stars wait to pierce the sky in the corridor where night bears its maze. You begin to begin again. We continue on page 631. Stay, I said to the cut flowers. They bowed their heads lower. Stay, I said to the spider who fled. Stay, leaf. It reddened, embarrassed for me and itself. Stay, I said to my body. It sat as a dog does, obedient for a moment, soon starting to tremble. Stay to the earth of riverine valley meadows, of fossilized escarpments, of limestone and sandstone. It looked back with a changing expression in silence. Stay, I said to my loves. Each answered, always. We continue on page 633. Late October, and the sky is that clear blue scrim we only see when the leaves go presto changeu, garnet and gold and asters and chrysanthemums. The last flowers take their bow on center stage. The birds are packing it up, preparing their exit, and the rest of the garden collapses in ruin. Fallen branches, crumpled programs, dried leaves. The house light turns everything golden, and even though we know what's coming, the next act, we start to believe we can stay here forever in the amber spotlight. That night's black velvet curtain will never fall. We continue on page 635. There is a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you can do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. Our service continues on page 639. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of all the generations, on this great Sabbath of forgiveness, forgive our moral failings. On this great Sabbath of goodness, teach us to be satisfied with your goodness. On this great Sabbath of atonement, purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Year after year, you set us on the path from guilt to holiness. Our God and God of all generations, let us feel your nearness. Let us know your love. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato letzion. Let our eyes and our hearts experience your presence in Zion. God of goodness, mercy, and hope, we are grateful for your gifts of love and compassion. Seal us today for a life of integrity, lived in covenant with you. God of peace, grant us peace, your most precious gift. You have given us freedom to choose between good and evil, life and death. May we always choose life and good, that our children may inherit excuse me. That our children may inherit from us the blessing of peace. May we and the whole family of Israel be remembered and sealed in the book of life. Blessed is forgiveness, and blessed are goodness, mercy, and love. Blessed is the nearness of the divine presence, and blessed is the hope for peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Osei HaShalom. You are the blessed one, the eternal one, the source of peace. We continue on page 641. before the gate is locked and shuttered, before every word is said and uttered, before I have become something different, something other, before the mind has lost its way, before possessions are packed and put away, before the pavement hardens here to stay, before the apertures of flutes are sealed, before the laws of nature are revealed, before the vessels break and can't be healed, before decrees and edicts are imposed, before the hand of God has closed, before we rise to leave this place and go. God Most High, your promise is forever. Even when prayer is a struggle and you seem far away, the doors open wide for the repentant. Like the stoutness of oak trees, so is our stubbornness. Like thorns and thistles, so is our malice. And yet you say, return. Return, rebellious children, seek my face with tears and supplication. God Most High, your promise is forever. Impoverished, we knock on your door, seeking kindness, lamenting our lot. Remember us. Recall us for a full life. May your ancient love come to us quickly. And you say, come to me. Come to me with thanksgiving and songs. God Most High, your promise is forever. We continue on page 645. As we read responsively. Take the fruit of our lips, wholesome, true, and sweet, accepting our offerings, our words, as we walk your path honestly and with integrity. Raise us up and let your presence light the way. Let this day's reckoning be done. Help us find atonement. Give us strength to stand upright in the world. Even before we cry out, may your forgiveness go forth. Adonai, please receive these offerings. This is your offering of our hearts. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now. In keeping with your boundless love, Adonai, Adonai El Rachum V'Chanun, Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, wrongdoing, and granting pardon. Vayomer Adonai, and God responded, Salachti ki dvarecha, I forgive as you have asked. Behold my unease. Let my prayer be sweet and pleasant. Hear it as though it were perfect, a prayer of pure innocence. Engrave us in the book of life. Bring goodness to its final sealing. For the world and our lives with it hover on the edge of nothingness. Reach out. Extend your hand. I come before you, accept my return. All the harm I have done, forgive. The deeds I regret, please pardon. Turn, my beloved, to the goodness of those who seek you, who long for you like the rays of dawn. You, Adonai, you encourage me. You make me feel safe. We read together. Forgive us, Avinu, for we have strayed. Pardon us, Malkeinu, for succumbing to sin. You are generous in granting forgiveness, all loving to those who reach out to you. Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting our pardon. Our God and God of our fathers and our mothers, forgive us, pardon us, and lead us to atonement. We continue on page 651. The future has an ancient heart. The tree stands still, your love endures. Remind us we are children, still bewildered by the world, selfish, willful, lacking in patience, longing for praise, in need of hugs. Remind us we are servants, day laborers, summoned every morning, lazy, distractible, focused on quick rewards, ennobled by your work. Remind us we are a vineyard, watched over, yearned over, tended these 3,000 years, scorched by fire, but alive at the root, growing slowly toward the harvest day. The future has an ancient heart. The tree still stands. Your love endures. We are insolent, but you are compassionate and gracious. We are stubborn and stiff-necked, but you are slow to anger. We persist in doing wrong, but you are the essence of mercy. Our days are a shadow passing by, but you are existence itself, your years never ending. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent, Adonai. We are sometimes arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled this past year. We have strayed. We have done wrong. Read together in the middle of the next page. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander. We devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn. We are immoral, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. Continue on page 659. We have recited our alphabet of woe, and as we come to the end of Yom Kippur Day, we need to understand that there is a transition here for us. We move from our mistakes and wrongdoings to our hopes of what we can achieve and what we might do in the year ahead. And so, on the bottom of page 659, we have aspired to reach higher. We have befriended those in need. We have created works of beauty. We have delighted in holy books. We have embraced our dear ones and held them close. We have fought for justice. We have given of ourselves. We have honored your mitzvot. We have immersed ourselves in prayer. We have joined hands to build community. We have kept our word with integrity. We have loved faithfully and well. We have moved toward the light. We have nourished and supported. We have opened ourselves to hope. We have pursued the good. We have quieted our anger. We have remembered those who came before. We have sought meaning in Torah. We have trusted and been trustworthy. We have uttered words of beauty. We have vigorously struggled to do right. We have wept over our shortcomings. We have exchanged blame for compassion. We have yearned to make life better. And we have zestfully rejoiced. Zestfully? Zestfully. On page 661, from this place of prayer and community, we will soon return to our homes. May we take with us the spirit of this day. Melech Hafetz B'Chaim, sovereign God who treasures life, help us to turn our homes into havens of your love, sanctuaries of your compassion. Let them be shelters against the storm, dwelling places for all that is life-giving and good. On page 663, Ezrat Nafshenu, our soul sustainer, source of our life. We stand as one before the one. Each solitary soul, each fragment of the whole, a congregation of fears, dreams and hopes, regret and joy, questions unanswered. Where is justice? When will there be peace? Who can mend our shattered hearts? Some are starving. Some are dying alone. Many are suffering in need of our love. How far can our hands reach? Ezrat Nafshenu, our soul sustainer, source of our life, the gates of hope are ours to open. Still the wind of creation blows, sweeping over the darkness, building cosmos out of chaos, evolving order and complexity, shining light into the shadows, wresting beauty out of brokenness and failure. Still, the wind of creation blows. The world is still becoming, and we are still emerging. Ezrat Nafshenu Mekor Chayenu, let healing come. Let it come through deeds of tzedakah and chesed. Let it come through us, our hands, and our love. I invite us to rise as we are able. On the bottom of the page, we read together, Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace. When our deeds are wanting, save us through acts of justice and love. We may be seated. We continue on 667. To live life in all its fullness is to stand in awe before an open gate, to gaze into a doorway of hope, a wondrous portal of possibilities. Many are the gates of our lives, many the treasures toward which they lead, and how many close behind us, lost, forgotten, and sealed forever. How many gates, how many years. Standing in awe before the gates of a new year, we see its most precious gift, the minutes and the hours, the days and the weeks, the treasure home of time. Every moment is a vessel of infinite holiness. Every morning, noon, and night is a gateway to life's immensity. How will we use this precious gift?
Adonai Tzevaot, umelech hakavod zehema, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai.
As we prepare to move to the end of our Yom Kippur service, I invite members of our shofar quartet to join us on the bima. Matthew Hom, Eddie Goldstein, Toby Porter, and Ellie Ursus. In addition, I invite Dina Jastrock. Harry Jacobs, are you with us, sir? Harry Jacobs. He's here. If you would join us, please. We'll want to conclude with Havdalah in a moment. After that, we may be seated when you get up here, at least for a few moments. Sorry, Harry, if I told you earlier, you wouldn't have sat all the way back that far back, would you? Great. Glad to have everybody here. And of course, now that you've worked your way here and have had a seat, I invite us all to rise.
That was short-lived. Thanks for the rest.
We stand as one before the gates of a new year, renewed by this day of atonement, made stronger by all who are with us, and by those whose presence we feel within. As this long day begins to fade into dusk, we join our voices in words of hope and dedication. Pitchu lanu sha'arei tzedek, navovam nodeya. Open for us the gates of righteousness. May we enter and praise the eternal source of life. We continue responsively. Open for us the gates of sacred community that we may enter and feel its healing power. Open for us the gates of devotion and principle that we may enter and find enduring values and meaning.
Open for us the gates of repentance and return, that we may enter and offer our best.
Open for us the gates of forgiveness that we may enter and offer our humanity.
Open for us the gates of kindness and compassion, that we may enter and offer our love.
As the Sabbath of Sabbath ends, we say from the heart, living source, you are ours and we are yours. From beyond time and space, you hold out your hand to receive us. Living source, you are ours and we are yours. You are the sovereign of remembrance, the voice of holiness. Your presence lights the way. Living source, you are ours and we are yours. Shema Yisrael, hear the shofar, witness to history, thunder, to our souls. Living Source, you are ours, and we are yours. Happy are those who love the sound of the shofar, its mystic chords of memory. We read together. Living Source, you are ours, we are yours. Hear the shofar, hear its cry of freedom, its call to courage. Cherish its promise. On page 672, Cantor, first various phrases we repeat multiple times.
Yes.
Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah. Mazel tov. We may be seated.
It's a much smaller piece to blow, man. Remember, it's a much smaller piece to blow. We can go down, yeah? Yeah.
Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah teach us the value of making distinctions and separations. We make distinctions in our lives, choosing the sacred over the profane. We make distinction in our lives, choosing compassion over callousness. As we come to the end of this Sabbath of the soul, this Yom Kippur day, we share in the ceremony of Havdalah, saying goodbye to this day, but as well giving us strength and courage to make the distinctions in our lives that we need to make. Yom Kippur is a challenge to us all, to forgive others, to forgive ourselves, to always constantly move forward to become the people we are to become. The Havdalah braided candle teaches us that all of life, all of us together, share in an intertwined journey. That journey towards lightness, towards brightness, towards hope, and towards peace. Harry, if you will come, please, and hold on to the candle. Dina, if you will come. Wine or spice. Tell you what, hold them both.
I have 2 hands.
Okay. We share in the ceremony of Havdalah. The words you can find in your Machzorim on page 674 and following for those who need the words. Cantor? You don't need the words. Please rise as you are able and put your arms around the shoulder of someone next to you, or the hand of someone who needs to remain seated. We praise you, our eternal God, source of all being, who calls us to make acts of distinctions in our lives, to bring sacredness to the world around us, to be messengers of holiness and of peace to the world at large. And we say, Amen.
מבדיל בין קודש לחול, חטאותינו הוא ימחול, זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה. שנה טובה, 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 שנה טובה,
invited to break the fast on our patio. Gamar Chatima Tova. May we seal ourselves in the book of life and blessing, and let us say, Amen.
What do you know?
I forgot, real quick, Cantor. Motzi, very quickly. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Thank you. L'chaim.
Those little 16 don't pick us.
Bravo.
Oh, thank you so much, dude.
That solo, I don't know how you did it. Oh my God, are you kidding?
You're making me cry.
No, you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
It was great.
It was beautiful.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Stand over the
Please,
stands.
it's okay.
Stand over the
You
stands.
deserve it.
Stand over stand.
I'll walk out with
All right.
you. Service. Thank you. Take care.
No. We feel much better for having lost it. Thank you.
You deserve my little season. He knows, right? You know. I'll go too.
I'm moving as fast as I can.
All right, see you later.
I'm ready.